What is up, you guys? I'm Anthony Metro. Welcome to the video. Today I will be giving you my 2020 National League West playoff predictions. Before I get started, if you like this video and you want to see more Major League Baseball content, please be sure to subscribe to me right here. Also follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Anthony Metro MLB. This is a special video because today concludes my National League playoff predictions, so I will also be revealing the first and second wildcard spots. Kicking it off in the National League West are the San Francisco Giants. Last year, the Giants won 77 games, and some might say that they even overachieved. Now heading into the 2020 season, it looks like things are trending downward for the Giants. The Giants failed to add much in the way of new talent this year. Long-term ace Madison Bumgarner walked to the Diamondbacks in free agency, and they also lost Kevin Pillar, who had a very good season for the Giants last year. They also lost Will Smith to the Atlanta Braves. The Giants failed to replace their production, and it looks like it's going to be a long year for them. They did add Wilmer Flores, who in 89 games had a very good year for the Diamondbacks last year. He'll be able to play all around the infield, but he will certainly not make up for any of their other deficits. Of course, the Giants are in a rebuild mode right now. However, it doesn't look like they'll be able to accelerate that rebuild by trading any of their aging veterans. Buster Posey is due $22 million each of the next 3 years. He hasn't played in over 120 games in either of the past 2 years. And then, of course, you have Brandon Crawford, who has 2 years and $15 million due to him each of the next 2 seasons. The Giants are currently without a true center fielder. They do have some young guys in Mike Yastrzemski, Steven Dugar, and Mauricio Dubon. Dubon is actually an up-and-coming prospect for the Giants. He's actually a second baseman by trade, but could see time in center field. Overall, the Giants' rotation is weak. They have Johnny Cueto, who in 5 starts last year had an ERA over 5. They had Jeff Samardzija, who actually had a very good season in 32 starts. And they rounded it out with veterans in Kevin Gausman and Drew Smyly. The 5th spot in the rotation could go to one of their top prospects, Logan Webb. One other interesting thing the Giants can look for is the debut of top catching prospect Joey Bart. Bart is a former first-round pick. He has home run pop and gold glove potential behind the plate. But other than Joey Bart and Logan Webb, there's not a whole lot else for the Giants to look forward to in 2020. I expect that this team's main goal is to just not finish last place in the National League West, maybe not in the entire National League. With very few MLB-ready prospects and an aging roster full of bloated salaries, the Giants really have no choice but to wait things out. This is the first year of what should be a lengthy rebuild for the Giants. For those reasons, my prediction for the 2020 Giants is a 70-92 record, 5th place in the National League West. The Colorado Rockies finished 71-91 in 2019, and things did not go well for them this offseason. Of course, the biggest news all offseason for the Rockies was disgruntled superstar Nolan Arenado. Reports have surfaced all offseason that the relationship between the Rockies and Arenado have become irreparable. This has led many to believe that a trade is imminent for the Rockies' third baseman. The biggest wrench, of course, in any trade for Arenado is his large contract. Arenado, of course, still has 7 years and over $220 million on the extension that he signed with the team last year. Further complicating matters for the team is an opt-out that Arenado has after the 2021 offseason. Between the cost of the contract and the cost of prospects that the Rockies are going to want in return, this could really muddy the waters for any team that's looking to acquire Arenado's services. The Rockies still have a very good offense in Trevor Story, Charlie Blackmon, Daniel Murphy, and even the emergence of Ryan McMahon last year. However, that Rockies lineup, much like Rockies lineups of the past, suffered vast home and road splits in 2019. Last year, the Rockies offense had an OPS over 200 points lower on the road than it was at home. And despite that major flaw with the team, it is always the Rockies pitching that is the main culprit for their issues. German Marquez and John Gray had encouraging 2019s, but Kyle Freeland took a step back from his 2018 season. The Rockies' bullpen will also be an issue. They have a few relievers with expensive contracts in Jake McGee and Brian Shaw, who did not perform well last year either. Overall, the Rockies have a good lineup. Yes, there's no doubt about it. However, they have a weak rotation, a weak bullpen, and a weak farm system, all of which does not bode well for the Rockies in 2020. In my opinion, we're going to see Nolan Arenado traded before the end of the season. I also wouldn't be surprised if we end up seeing the Rockies going into a full-blown rebuild, selling off on guys like Ian Desmond, Charlie Blackmon, and Daniel Murphy as well. Expect the Rockies and the Giants to duke it out for last place in the National League West. My prediction for the 2020 Colorado Rockies is a 72-90 record. The D-backs concluded their 4th consecutive winning season, going 85-77 in 2019. That record came as a surprise to many around the league, including myself. The Diamondbacks are going for it in 2020. They had an impressive offseason, of course, adding longtime Giants ace Madison Bumgarner in addition to right fielder Cole Calhoun. But it didn't stop there. They then pulled off a trade for Pirates center fielder Starling Marte. With Madison Bumgarner now anchoring it, the D-backs have a solid rotation. Former second rounder Alex Young had a great start to his career. He had a 3.56 in 15 starts for the team. Then you have another young pitcher in Zach Allen, who came over from the Marlins in a mid-season trade last year and continued to pitch well for the D-backs. However, and this is where I get a little weary about the D-backs, their lineup looks a little bit shaky to me. I'm thinking specifically of catcher and the corner infield and corner outfield positions. At catcher, the Diamondbacks have Stephen Vogt and Carson Kelly. At first base, the Diamondbacks might try to get away with the platoon of Christian Walker and Jake Lamb, but honestly, it's very underwhelming to me. And in left field, you have 31-year-old David Peralta, whose numbers have been on the decline every year. Something that might mitigate the concerns of getting production from the catching position is the debut of Dalton Varsho. Varsho is one of baseball's top prospects and last year had 18 home runs and 21 steals. Truth be told, I'm not high on this team. I think they're due for a slight regression. I think the D-backs have a good rotation. However, that lineup looks very average to me right now. I believe Ketel Marte is in line to become one of the superstars in baseball. He could even win a Gold Glove at second base. Starling Marte is a great center fielder. I could see him hitting a lot of home runs in that ballpark. But the rest of the lineup looks very meager to me. While Nick Ahmed did show some power and hit 19 home runs last year, 19 home runs is not exactly eye-popping anymore, especially when you struggle to get a 300 on-base percentage the way Ahmed does. Overall, the Diamondbacks have a good team, but not good enough to contend in the National League West. My prediction for the 2020 Arizona Diamondbacks is a 79-83 record. Third place in the National League West. The San Diego Padres finished 2019 in last place in the National League West with a 70-92 record. They began 2019 an even 45-45 through the first 90 games and then tapered off in the second half. But I don't expect that to be the case this year. The Padres are ready to take the next step. The Padres have a talented roster bursting at the seams with top prospects. The Padres have shown a willingness in the last few years to go out and add premium talent. Last year they added Manny Machado, and the year before that, Eric Hosmer. And now the Padres' young farm system is ready to make their mark. They of course feature one of the most exciting young players in all of baseball in Fernando Tatis Jr. In addition, the Padres also have Tommy Pham, who I actually believe is one of the more underrated players in all of baseball. You still have Will Myers, who plays some outfield and first base for the team, and they also added second baseman Brian Dozier this year. The Padres also acquired outfielder Trent Grisham for the Brewers, who before being known for his fielding gaffe in the 2019 Wildcard game was an up-and-coming prospect for the team. But it is the Padres' young pitching staff that is the envy of baseball. Chris Paddock burst onto the scene last year and had a tremendous rookie season. But there are more enforcements on the way. Mackenzie Gore, baseball's 4th overall prospect, is ready to make his debut this year, as well as other top starting pitcher Luis Patino. Until those guys are ready, Garrett Richards and Zach Davies will round out the rotation for the Padres, 2 solid veterans. The Padres are on their way. They are getting close to being a serious contender. I could see this team fighting for a wildcard spot this year, but it all hinges on that young starting pitching staff. If they make strides this year, look for them to make some noise, possibly contend for the second wildcard spot. Otherwise, 2021 could be the Padres' year. My prediction for the 2021 Padres is an 81-81 record, an even 500 for second place in the National League West. And of course, it should come as no surprise, my choice for the National League West champions are the Los Angeles Dodgers. The Dodgers are by far the most talented team in the NL West and perhaps in all of the National League. The only team that could rival them in baseball are the New York Yankees. Coming into the 2019 offseason, the Dodgers already had a loaded lineup. Now, in my opinion, the Dodgers may have one of the best lineups baseball has ever seen. Going down the line, you of course have Mookie Betts and Cody Bellinger, but it never ends. Corey Seager, Justin Turner, Max Muncy, Jock Pederson, and even some of the younger guys like Gavin Lux and Will Smith are ready to make a big impact in the major leagues. They also have one of the most versatile teams. You might see Cody Bellinger in right field, center field, or first base. The same can be said for Jock Pederson. The Dodgers pitching staff took a little bit of a hit early in the offseason when they lost Hyun-Jin Ryu and Rich Hill. Of course, also coming over in the Mookie Betts trade was David Price, who seems to have exercised his playoff demons. The Dodgers also helped to improve their beleaguered bullpen by adding Blake Trinan, one of the better free agent relievers on the market. Walker Buehler is ready to step into stardom. He is a potential Cy Young candidate for me. And of course, Clayton Kershaw, maybe not the Cy Young Clayton Kershaw that we are all used to, but is still very good in the regular season. For the Dodgers, it's not really a matter of if they win the NL West, it is a matter of by how many games. The only real concern for the Dodgers and their fans is getting the best record in baseball and ultimately getting home field advantage in the World Series. The Dodgers are a well-oiled machine. I would even call them a Ferrari, and a Ferrari that keeps getting upgrades year after year. The Dodgers have a farm system that consistently produces productive MLB talent and a front office that is willing to acquire premium talent via free agency or trade. Because of that, I'm going to bump the Dodgers up by 2 wins from their 2019 record. The 2020 Dodgers will go 108 and 54 for first place in the National League West and far and away the best record in the National League. So guys, that of course concludes all of my National League playoff predictions. I have the Atlanta Braves winning the NL East, the St. Louis Cardinals winning the NL Central, and the Los Angeles Dodgers winning the National League West. All that's left to do now is of course the wild card spots. As far as the wild card spots in the National League, I could see it going to one of many teams. In the West, you have the San Diego Padres, who I mentioned are an up-and-coming team, and the Arizona Diamondbacks, who won 85 games last year and made some nice additions to their roster. In the Central, you have the Chicago Cubs, who I think are being doubted a little bit too much. You have the Cincinnati Reds, who had an impressive offseason, and of course the Milwaukee Brewers, who boast one of the best players in all of baseball in Christian Yelich. And of course in the NL East, you have the New York Mets, who are a very talented team all around, and the Philadelphia Phillies, who, like the Chicago Cubs, I think are being a little underrated. In the first wildcard spot in the National League, I have the New York Mets with an 89 and 73 record. In this second wildcard spot, I have the Philadelphia Phillies with an 85 and 77 record. So there is your 2020 National League playoff picture. I hope you guys enjoyed this. The American League will be coming up next. Keep an eye out for that. Let me know what your thoughts are. Do you guys agree with all these predictions? Do you think I'm crazy for the Nationals? What about the Diamondbacks? I know I was a little low on them as well. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Be sure to subscribe and can't wait to hear from you guys.